Well, hey, it's Sunday and we're back doing the live show. Apologize for being off for a couple of weeks. A few weeks ago, I was all set to do the live show and I couldn't get the camera to work. Technical issue. Then after that, it was Mother's Day, and then we were in Hawaii for a few things. We did the Tacoma. Hopefully you watched the videos. We produced 3 videos on the all-new Tacoma, and 2 videos are still to come. So the Grand Highlander Hybrid and Hybrid Max video will drop on Tuesday. That's when the embargo lifts on that. And then we're also going to put out another video on the regular gasoline version of the Grand Highlander. If you missed it, yesterday was the Bronco Sport Heritage video dropped. So a lot going on. What else is going on? Yeah, this week we're off to Los Angeles. It's the official North American launch of the Volkswagen ID Buzz. So the Buzz is the electric bus. You've seen pictures of it. It's been released in Europe, but the North American version with the longer wheelbase and all of that, we're going to be down in California for the launch of it. Apparently this is going to be a really big deal. There's going to be hundreds of vintage Volkswagen buses down there, and Andrew and I are going to go and do a video with the ID Buzz and show you a little bit of what's going on down there. So that's what's going on this week. It's busy. And the Nissan Ariya electric car video might drop this week, but it might drop the week after. Don't forget to sign up with carcostcanada.com. It's carcostcanada.com, which is where you find out the dealer's invoice, what they paid for the car from the manufacturer. Very powerful information, helps you go in there and negotiate. We have a lot of pictures to get through because we were off for a few weeks. Don't forget, if you want to get a picture through, it's Zach at motormouth.ca. That's Z-A-C-K at motormouth.ca, or Z-A-C-K at motormouth.ca if you're south of the border. And don't forget, if you have to get a question answered today without fail, you can always do a super chat. Makes a small contribution to the channel as well. Okay, so I see a super chat's come in. I'll get to that in just a moment. The first picture, this is a cool one. This is from Martin. He says, this is a neat photo of his BMW 335. That's the blue one on the left, with the Python green Cayman press car you guys drove, only it's on summer wheels. There you go. So that is the press car we drove a few months ago. He says, I live near the Porsche National Parts Distribution Center and Technical Training Facility. They also house and manage the local press fleet. I was drawn to the green like a bear to honey. We really like that car. The GTS is fantastic. The 4-liter naturally aspirated engine, fantastic. Here's another cool one. This is from Juan, a regular viewer of the channel. I always hear you say, out of all the electric cars, 2 stand out for you, the GV70 electric and the BMW i4. Well, I just picked up our brand new 2023 BMW i4 eDrive 40 non-M Sport trim. We ordered it in early March and took delivery May 1st, so that's not too long. It was 100% worth the wait. We got the BMW iBlue exterior accents and the highest range 18-inch wheels. Might pick up some 19-inch wheels. We drove the Q4, the Ioniq 5, and the EQS. Nothing felt like the i4. We love it. I would agree with you. The BMW i4 is a real gem. If you're looking for a fun electric car, that one is fantastic because it's on the inside. It's exactly like a regular BMW 4 Series. No weird stuff, just normal stuff. This is from Ian. No, this isn't from Ian. This is from Jay. Just got myself a 2023 Honda Civic Sport and absolutely loving it. I was looking for a used one, but the used prices were more expensive than the new one. So I just went ahead and bought a new Civic Sport and couldn't be happier. I've had many Hondas lasting 300,000 K and no problems. I know this one will be the same. We have a Honda Civic and we like it too, so congratulations. This next one is from Ian. We just got a 2023 RAV4 XSE Hybrid, traded in a 19 Nissan Rogue for this beauty. We waited just 2 days and the car is here. What luck. Thanks and keep up the good reviews. Well, thank you very much. And this next one is from Richard. My name is Richard. I'm a longtime subscriber. I wanted to say thank you to you and Andrew for the great videos. I wanted to send you a picture. I know you're not a fan of this model, but I really love the car and I think it's well suited for the Vancouver climate. Thanks. That's from Richard. Okay, so I don't dislike the Audi TT. I mean, put it this way. If you like the Audi TT, knock yourself out. My only thing about the Audi TT is, I always question is, if you're going to buy an Audi TT, in my opinion, you might as well just get the Cayman. But you like it, so that's all that matters. The next one is from Omer. Washed and detailed his Mirage. Perfect opportunity for a pick on the new summer rims. So there you go. Looking good with the spring colors from the trees as well. And our last picture is from Mike. It's a 2022 RAV4 SE Hybrid. Good road manners. Thanks for your input. Well, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know that I think that the RAV4 is the best car on the road for the money. I don't think there's much. I'll leave that there just in case you need it. Best car on the road for the money. You just really can't beat it for what you get. I'm falling apart here. You tell it's been a few weeks since I've done this. All right, let's go down and get some of the super chats. First up, my T-Bird. Thank you very much. My T-Bird offered to come to Hawaii and help us with the videos that we do. And I said, well, that sounds great, but Andrea looks better in a bikini, so you lose out there. Rumor has it that the Spencers have acquired a Volkswagen GTI. Well, we don't have it yet. It is going to be coming sometime. It hasn't been built yet, so we have an order in at the dealer, and hopefully they're going to get cracking on it in Wolfsburg. We do know that it's going to be a 2023 allocation, and the reason why we rushed to get it, we could have waited for a 2024, is that we wanted the special yellow color, and we were told when the GTI was launched that the yellow would only be available for the first year. So we really like the yellow, and we chose the Autobahn trim, and now we wait. How long we're gonna have to wait, we're not sure, but yes, there is a GTI in our future. Here is a super chat from Dave, who emailed me earlier today. Details on ownership costs. Our 2011 Infiniti EX35 purchased in 69,000 kilometers, sold in 23 for 140. Total depreciation repairs across 80 months, $129 per month. Total ownership cost. Amazing. Well, you know what? Part of it is also the marketplace. For example, our Honda Civic, we bought it, it'll be 3 years in September, so coming up on 3 years ago. It was a 3-year-old off-lease car, and it had only 42,000 kilometers on the odometer. So a lightly used car, so that's about 22 or 23,000 miles. Nothing on it, right? So we paid $18,000 for the car. And it's not like a cheap one, it's the EX. And I went about a year ago and was looking at maybe selling it and getting something else, and they were going for $25,000. Same year, same trim. So in a short period of time, in about a year and a half or 2 years, that $18,000 used car had gone up to $25,000 just because how crazy the market is. We're starting to see used car prices level off, but if you can play that spread and sell a car, that's great. Another perfect example of what Dave's mentioning is our very first Porsche Cayenne that we got. We bought it in 2008 and we sold it after 5 or 6 years, and I averaged what it cost us to own the car per month, and it was about $330 a month. And I thought to myself, you couldn't even lease a Toyota Camry for what we got to drive our Porsche Cayenne for. All right, so thank you for the super chats. Now here's another one from Chase. What do you think of the 2024 Toyota Tacoma? Good question. So we were in Hawaii with Toyota. We were there to test drive the Grand Highlander. The first one drops on Tuesday. The second one drops on Wednesday. And we also got to see the Toyota Tacoma, which was the worldwide reveal. Now, we didn't get a chance to drive it, But I think that we did a long interview with the chief engineer, Sheldon Brown, and the amount of thought that went into this new product is quite amazing. A lot of negatives online, people saying, why did they get rid of the V6 and go to the 2.4 liter turbocharged four-cylinder? Well, a four-cylinder turbocharged engine gives you better torque, gives you the same horsepower as the V6, uses less fuel, and gives you a better range of torque through a wider RPM range. So that's all usable stuff. And then you add in the hybrid system, which gives you even more torque and more power and even more capability without having to add a whole lot more in terms of fuel economy. So it's not going to use less fuel, but it's not going to use as much as if you try to achieve all of those things with making the engine bigger if it was just a regular internal combustion engine. So we're going to have to wait. It's not until November when the drive program is going to take place. So this was a really long, what we call a long lead. So 6 months or more before the vehicle is actually going to be able to be driven and then go for sale at the end of this year. So if you're looking for a gas Tacoma, it's going to be at the end of 2023. The hybrid model will be at the beginning of 2024. I think they did an amazing job on styling. Styling for trucks is so important. I think the interior is much nicer. I love the fact they kept the manual transmission. One thing I don't like is the truck that we sold our Tacoma 2 years ago, this month actually. I think it was, 2 years ago. 2 years ago is when we got our Cayenne GTS, and I sold the Tacoma to buy that car. We had an access cab, which is the regular front doors and then two swing out little doors at the back to gain access, why it's called access cab. So they're kind of like suicide doors. And the thing that was great about the access, or is great about the access cab, is you could slide things in the back seat. Like if you had a toolbox, you could slide it in there, close it up, and it stays dry. They've gotten rid of the access cab, and now they've gone to just a single door at the front, and the part behind the front door is now solid. So we asked them, like, okay, so you have, and there's no rear seats, no little jump seats any longer. It's just for storage. So that kind of gets rid of the access part of it. So they think it's going to be easy to slide things in and out over the front seats. And I'm thinking, if you're somebody with a big, heavy toolbox and you want to put it in the back and keep it dry and locked, you're going to have to wrestle it over the front seats. I don't understand that. It would have been kind of neat if they had done just one door on the driver's side, and then on the passenger side done the little swing out door. So kind of like Hyundai does with Veloster. They've got a 3-door setup. I think that would have been very useful to have a Tacoma access door at the back. I think that would have been good. So I miss that. That's one thing I miss. So we'll have to wait until we get a chance to actually to drive it to see what it's like. We have another super chat. This one is from Yale. Hey, Yale, nice to see you. GT3 looks amazing like the rest of the 992 range. What do you like about it the most? Would you join me for European delivery? I said that to Andrea. I said, if we ever ordered a fancy car, wouldn't it be great to get... well, actually, I brought it up about the GTI. I said, wouldn't it be fun to fly to Wolfsburg and pick up the GTI, drive the car around Germany for... a week, 10 days, leave it at the port, fly home, and wait for it to arrive. The GT3 is just all about the engine. I will say, though, that they modified the new front suspension to a double wishbone setup, and the previous GT3 front suspension is now, by the way, in the Boxster and Cayman GTS models, which is quite interesting. So the newest 992, they modified it. We were really surprised by just how easy the car was to drive in everyday situations. You would think, okay, you've got a track-ready GT3, 9,000 RPM, screaming flat six behind you. Well, this isn't going to be any fun to drive on city roads. It was really nice. It was comfortable. I think they've improved the sound deadening. The steering is very easy. It doesn't jump and catch every single rut in the road. I just love the car. I mean, if I had a lottery ticket car, it would be a GT3 Touring without the big wing on the back. I just think that's my favorite car. It's easy to answer that question. Another super chat. This is from Leon. Looking at the CX-90 MDX, any notable changes for 2024? Not for the CX-90, it's brand new. It is a 24 actually, it's just come out. So the MDX, any notable changes for 2024? So that car's only been in the market for 2 years. So I would say no. And if there is any changes, there would be really quite minimal. The dealer would be able to give you some good insight on that. But I would, if I was a betting man, I would say no. Typically, mid-cycle refresh on a Japanese car is 3 to 4 years. So I would say no, you're not going to get anything. By the way, I've got my Father's Day mug. Dad rocks. So I think you're probably pretty safe if you're considering getting an MDX, that not much is going to change. Here's Jerome from Belle Provence. Ford Maverick. I know you love the thing. I'm totally crazy to fall in love with the all-wheel drive FX4 version. Thinking of trading my Willys in for that. So Jerome has a Jeep Wrangler. See, the whole thing about the Maverick that I love is just the base model simplicity of the hybrid system. Now, I understand that you would want to have all-wheel drive for winter driving conditions in Quebec, but it's the thriftiness of the thing. Like, we were getting better than the EPA or Transport Canada official fuel economy numbers. Like, it's just crazy good on gas. It's quiet. It's nice to drive. I like the size of it. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to go and get the top, high performance version of it with the all-wheel drive system. But for me, it's not about that. It's just about getting, the problem is in Canada, some of the lower trims just don't have some of the creature comforts that I'm used to, like automatic door and push button start. So you have to move up in order to get those things. But hey, fill your boots. Here's Leon again. Choosing between the CX-90 and MDX. Will MDX have any noticeable changes? Touchscreen, which one would you choose? Touchscreen or hybrid? Which one would you choose? So I don't think there's going to be any changes for the MDX. As I said, get in touch with your dealer and find out if there is going to be any updates for 2024. As I said, I don't think so. So for the plug-in hybrid for the CX-90, that's a totally different beast. Enjoyed driving it, actually. Was quite pleasantly surprised by it. My only thing about the CX-90, and it's the only caveat, is it's a brand new vehicle from the wheels up. New engines, new hybrid system, new all-wheel drive system, new platform, new everything. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm not saying there are any issues with the car. I'm just saying there could be, because it's a first year. MDX, on the other hand, has been in market for several years now and has got a proven track record. But they don't have the hybrid any longer. So if you're wanting to save money on fuel, then really the CX-90 with the plug-in is the way to go between those two. So you have to kind of decide whether you're fine with just the regular gas model, or if you want the plug-in, then it's going to be the Mazda. Okay, thank you for all those super chats. Let's go back up to the top here. KP, and welcome back. Thank you very much. Here's another one. My 08 Centro Spec V is dying, which you recommended from the CKNW days. I used to do a radio show here in Vancouver. It has 322,000 kilometers on the clock. What do you recommend for a replacement? GTI, Golf R, Mazda 3, etc. The VF8 reviews from Vegas is ouch. Yeah, the VF8, the VinFast VF8 reviews, we were invited to go, by the way, and we didn't go. We did have a conflict, but I'm not interested in going on a launch event with VinFast any longer. The next time we drive a VinFast car will be when one is here in front of our house for a week, and we get to spend a week driving it like we do with all our other press units. By the way, all of the first vehicles that were sold in the United States have all been recalled due to the screen locking up. So that means I think it's about 1,000 vehicles that were initially shipped to the U.S. market have all been recalled already. Just last week or a week and a half ago, the very first shipment of Canadian cars landed at the dock here in Vancouver. So they're going to be shipped to their very first owners soon. Obviously done with their software updates and recalls as well, but it's not good. Okay, back to your first question. So you want to get rid of the Spec V. It's dying on you. What else do you want? Well, the Mazda 3 is a really good car. Like, do you want a manual transmission or do you want an automatic transmission? Listen, we just ordered a GTI, so obviously we're big fans. And I think it's a lot of car for the money. I think that you could get something similar. It's actually even less expensive, and that is the Volkswagen GLI, which has the older dash in it from the previous model GTI and Jetta carried forward, and it's actually a great deal. The only thing you have to decide with the GLI is the color and whether you want to have an automatic or a manual transmission, and that's it. And it's cheaper than the GTI. So that's a hell of a car too for the money. I think we have more super chats going on here. You guys are spoiling me. I love it. Who doesn't like to be spoiled? Here's Evan. A super chat, no question. Evan, if you have a question, oh, here it is. Here's the question. For your next question, coffee and cars. Okay, you don't have a question, but appreciate it. Here's Ash. I'm looking to buy a 3-row SUV. I have a budget. Should I go for Palisade or Tahoe? Is a bigger vehicle better in ride quality on longer trips? Okay, so the one thing that people make the mistake is looking at these large 3-row, what are called body-on-frame SUVs. The Tahoe, the Suburban, the Escalade, and so on, thinking I'm going to get a lot more room in them than I would if I just got a 3-row mid-size vehicle. And I'm here to tell you, for passenger comfort and passenger space and for a refined ride, the 3-row utilities like the Palisade, the Telluride, and like this new Grand Highlander are going to offer you more space. So the Grand Highlander has the same volume on the inside as the Volkswagen Atlas, which is one of the biggest, and this is one of the biggest. I'm allowed to tell you that because the embargo on that information has already been lifted. Can't tell you what I think of how it drives until Tuesday, but I'll just let you know that on size, it's one of the biggest. So if you're moving people around and you want comfort, you're going to want one of the bigger 3-row SUVs. So it would be Palisade, Telluride, Grand Highlander, and the Atlas are all going to have more leg, hip, and headroom than you typically will get in a body-on-frame truck like a Tahoe. So the Tahoe is really designed for people that tow, and for people that tow, and the other people that tow. That's the real reason why you're going to get a body-on-frame truck, is for towing capability. This class of vehicle, 5,000-6,000 pounds, much more when you get the body-on-frame truck. So save yourself some money on gas, save yourself some money on purchasing, because they're quite expensive, and get something that's a 3-row SUV. Okay. We have 277 people on board, 46 thumbs up. If you guys could smash the thumbs up, that would be fantastic. All right, back to your questions again. Here's Ryan. Love the channel. Purchased the new 2023 Honda Pilot Elite this week. 10 years with Toyota, but I wanted the V6 of the Pilot over the Turbo 4 and the Highlander. It's kind of hard to argue. I mean, if you're going to keep a vehicle for 10 years, that is a proven drivetrain for sure. Here's Mac. Welcome back from Hawaii. Appreciate that. Hey, Zach. Glad the live show is back. Someone who lives in BC yourself. Are there some hidden gems, must-sees, you would recommend flying in from Toronto to Vancouver in August? Really excited. Okay. The one thing I don't know is whether you're going to rent a car or not. So I'll give you some things to see in the city of Vancouver. But really, I think if you don't have any plans to rent a car for a couple of days. It would be a good idea. So just around the city of Vancouver, you're still going to need a car to get there. One would be go to Deep Cove from the city of Vancouver, from downtown. It's about 20 minutes away. And when you arrive there, you'll think you're hundreds of miles outside of the city. It's quite incredible. You're in downtown Vancouver, you cross the Ironworkers Bridge, you head into Deep Cove, and it's like you're surrounded by mountains, the ocean's there, there's a beautiful harbor. But the real reason you want to go there is to go to Honey's Donuts. So go and get a coffee and get a Honey's Donut, and then walk down to the marina, sit there, enjoy your coffee and donut, and look at the spectacular view. And then at the other end of the North Shore, so this is something that I would do, is I would drive from Vancouver to Whistler, and then back. And now if you're not staying over in Whistler, you can do it there and back in one day, no problem. It's about 2 hours each way. But the part of the drive that you can't miss is what's called the Low Road in West Vancouver, Marine Drive. So just write this stuff down. You want to take Marine Drive from the Lionsgate Bridge along the water and through this twisty road with the most beautiful homes you've ever seen, looking over the ocean, and that takes you to Horseshoe Bay, and then you jump on the regular highway and then continue up to Whistler. So those are just a couple of things that you want to do. The other one is you want to rent a bike and ride around the seawall. That's pretty cool. Kitts Beach is another one, just to walk around, get an ice cream cone and walk along Kitts Beach. There's so much to see in Vancouver. Granville Island, yeah. So that's stuff that's kind of in and around the city of Vancouver. What is the best year for the NA Miata? Trying to remember when they updated, if it was an NA or an MB. They updated the engine. They gave it a little bit more power. They reinforced behind the rear seats. They put a reinforcement brace that went across the back of the car. I'm thinking that was 93. Does that make sense? 93, 94, right around there. And that was also maybe even earlier than that. Could have been, 92, somewhere in there. And they also had the head rests with the speakers in them. That was a really cool feature that we've seen come back in the last few years. I'm trying to remember what year that was. Anyway, they gave it a little bump in power, and they reinforced the front end a little bit, the suspension and the chassis a little bit. That's the one if you're looking for an NA, in my opinion. Okay. Outsider reviews. What are your thoughts on the Grand Cherokee 4xe over other SUVs? Well, I like the Grand Cherokee. You know what? I prefer the old Grand Cherokee more. There's something about the new Grand Cherokee. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Grand Cherokee, but they just made it big. And I like the size of the old one. The old one was similar to our Porsche Cayenne in dimensions, and now they've made it bigger. They even have a long wheelbase version of it. So I like it. But I'm always leery, especially with Stellantis, for anything in the first year or two, for new technology, especially for plug-in hybrids. So the thing is to go online and look up, owner reviews of this. I mean, the technology works. I mean, when we've driven it, it worked. And I thought it was quite seamless the way the hybrid system and the plug-in worked. I just wouldn't spend all of that money, and they ain't cheap, to get the 4xe at the price they're charging on new technology from a brand that isn't known for having the best reliability. So for me, it's a wait and see. That's really my best answer, is a wait and see, to see how they're going to hold up. Now, would I recommend a Toyota or a Lexus first year for technology like that? Yes. They have a proven track record of being able to produce vehicles of high quality right out of the gate. Stellantis, not so much. Here's another super chat. John James. Hey, Zach, good to see you back. I always see Andrea wearing the same Rolex Datejust in all the videos. Does she own any other luxury watches? So here's the backstory on the watches. I'm the crazy one for the watches. And I always, I mean, when I tell you I'm always looking at watches, I'm always looking at watches. And I have a pretty good collection now. I think I've got, I don't want to say how many I've got, but I got a lot of watches. And I kept on saying to Andrea, like, let's get you let's get you a nice watch, right? And she's like, oh, I don't care. She always used to wear those fashion watches, like Michael Kors watches. And she really liked them. And to be honest, they actually looked good. They were nice looking watches. They weren't expensive. They were a few $100. So we would buy her one for Mother's Day or for her birthday or Christmas or something like that. So she had a few of them. And then for a big anniversary a few years ago, I surprised her and I bought her a 36 millimeter Rolex Datejust, and with the pink dial. And the backstory on that is, I come home one day and Andrea says, I just want to show you a TV show. So it was one of those fashion shows where they do a makeover on a woman, you know, like a City Line or something like that. So the woman comes out and she's wearing a new outfit. Well, the designer was standing there and she's got this watch on, and Andrea pauses the TV show, she had recorded it, and she says to me, because she knew I would know, and she goes, what watch is that? I really like it. It's got a pink dial. And so I look at it and I go, well, of course you like it. It's a Rolex Datejust. So I put that in the back of my head, and this big anniversary was coming up, so I ordered the watch for the anniversary. So she didn't even know she was going to get it. So she got it for the anniversary and she just absolutely loves it. So I'm always, because I'm the one that's addicted to watches, saying, why don't we get you something else? And she says, no. I only need this. This is all I need. She never takes it off. She wears it all the time. Except for at Christmas this past year, I bought the Moon Swatch, the Venus one with the pink one. So I got her that for fun. So she has the Rolex Datejust with the pink dial that she absolutely loves, and then she has the Moon Swatch, the pink one. So there you go. That's a long story, but yeah, I'm the one who's addicted to the watches. She just puts up with me. Here's Sam. Besides having all-wheel drive standard, the Subaru Legacy doesn't do much better than its competition. Yet for some reason, I kind of want one. Your thoughts? Well, the thing about the Legacy is the Legacy has the big 11-inch screen in there. I think that's pretty nice. So you get all that screen real estate. It's very quiet and it's very refined and smooth. In fact, if you go back and watch a video I did on it from about 4 years ago when the latest Legacy was introduced. Andrea wasn't in the video. This is when I was doing them on my own. I said that if you didn't know, it has a bit of a quasi luxury feel to it. So quiet, smooth, refined, you know, good fuel economy because it's got a continuously variable transmission, and it comes standard with all-wheel drive. So the one thing about the Legacy, and people are complaining that you just can't buy cars. So I'm always say, look where people aren't shopping. So everybody wants a compact crossover, and we're waiting a year or two to get a RAV4 hybrid. Well, if you wander down to the Subaru dealer and you want to get a Subaru sedan, like a Legacy, I bet you'd probably get one pretty quick, because there's not a lot of people shopping in the mid-size car space, and if they are, they're going to Camry and Accord, and they're driving right past the Legacy. But give it a shot. I bet you'd be surprised by how smooth and nice and refined it is. All right. So where are we here? I just want to figure out where I'm at. Back to the top I go. Sanjeev is here. Hey, Zach. Thinking to get a 19 RAV4 or a 19 Honda CR-V EXL. Budget $27,000 to $36,000. Thinking of getting, I mean, this is, they're both good choices. So the only issue, the 19 was the very first year for the RAV4. Okay, the vehicle, the latest one that you know and see on the road everywhere, was introduced in 2019. There were a few little quirks with the early models. Some complaints around shiftability with the 8-speed automatic transmission, but if there were any, that would have been fixed under a technical service bulletin or a recall. So yeah, whichever one you like is the one that you should buy, and the one you think you're getting the best deal on. Another question from Sanjeev. What's the best plug-in hybrid non-luxury SUV that you can buy right now? Well, If it's just pure out range, it's going to be a car you can't get. It's unobtainium. Is that what they call it? Unobtainium. You can't get one. RAV4 Prime. 68 kilometers of pure EV range. Really well done. Over 300 horsepower. Good luck getting one. Next one would be maybe the new CX-90 from Mazda with the plug-in hybrid. That's very well done. Then there's the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. That's another one. So yeah, there's a few to consider. The best one is the Prime. You just can't get it unless you get real lucky. Is the RX 350h that much better than the Venza? Yes, I believe it is. It has a more lively drive train. It's got a bigger electric motor than the Venza. So the RAV4 and the Venza share the same platform. And you know, oh, you're talking RX. Okay. So the RAV4 and the Venza share the same platform and the same engine and hybrid system. Okay. So that's the 2.5 liter, and it gets about 218, 219 horsepower. When you go to the NX or the RX, when you get the 2.5 liter, it has a larger electric motor. Okay, that makes it snappier and more fun to drive. And the RX is a class bigger, so it's got more space on the inside and just comes with more available or standard features. The one that I think you should look at is, if you're looking at the Venza and the RAV4, is not the RX but the NX. The NX has also the larger electric motor and makes it really quite lively and fun to drive in comparison to the Venza. So you might not need to go all the way to the RX. Look at the NX. Stephen Winter, greetings from Oakville. First time visitor of this frame, I guess, for the live show. Nice of you to join us. Harpreet is here. Harpreet, nice to see you. What do you think is the best luxury electric SUV right now? In my opinion, I was really taken with the Genesis GV70 Electrified. I just thought it was fantastic. Beautifully put together, nice looking, stunning interior. Comes really just one trim and one price. Now, it isn't cheap, but it is luxury, and you feel like you're getting luxury. So the real word in that sentence is, what's the best luxury SUV? Now, I would not put luxury and Tesla in the same sentence. I mean, Tesla, they sell a lot of them. They have a first to market advantage or first mover advantage. They've proven to have good range and so on. But luxury, they are not. So if luxury is your thing, then that would be my choice. Here's David. Do they pay you for reviewing these cars? No. We do not get paid to review the cars. We get paid from Google. We're an AdSense partner with Google. And when you have a YouTube channel, every time you see an ad pop up in a YouTube video, the creator, that's us, and Google share in that revenue. So we get a percentage of every dollar, and they get a percentage of every dollar. That's how we make our money. We do not get paid by the manufacturers. We do, however, get invited by the manufacturers to go to events, and they cover the costs of that. But we go on dozens and dozens and dozens of trips a year. They're not paying us. They're just hosting an event that we attend. We have another super chat here. Hi, Zach. Do PHEVs make any real sense? I calculate 10 to 15 years to make enough fuel savings to justify the extra outlay. Yeah, well, that's one of the problems with plugins, is plugins are now almost the same price as pure EVs in many situations. Like if you look, I'll go back to the RAV4 Prime. If you look at the RAV4 Prime and then you look at Toyota's full electric BZ or BZ4X, the price difference is within spitting distance. And one's a full EV and one's a plug-in. My whole thing is, and if you've watched this channel regularly, I'm always going on about why I think hybrids, for a majority of people, are the answer if you're wanting to get into a new vehicle that's not much more than a regular gasoline version, but it's going to knock off 30% fuel costs right away, which means you're going to recoup those additional costs rather quickly. You go to the plug-in versions, the price jumps way up. Now, sure, some get rebates, but still, the difference in price between a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid can be dramatic, and to your point, can take a lot of years to recoup that savings, which is back to my point, why I think hybrids really are the answer for a lot of people who just want to reduce their fuel costs and get a new vehicle. Okay. We have 327 on board right now. And 115 thumbs up. If you guys can smash the thumbs up, that would be great. Okay, where were we up here? What are your thoughts on the 2023 Murano? Well, the Murano has been around for quite a long time now. It still has a V6, and it has a continuously variable transmission and a quite nice interior. And it's a roomy, I would call it mid-size, two-row SUV. It has not had the best track record when it comes to reliability. I say as years have gone by, the track record has improved. The issue is that it's either going to be eliminated or going to be replaced. My bet is it's probably not going to be around forever. There's kind of a lot of overlap there. So you've got the Rogue, and the upper end trims of the Rogue are as nice, and it's only slightly smaller than Murano. And then you go up to Pathfinder. So yes, it's got to be. I mean, just looking at how long it's been in the marketplace, it's got to be replaced or eliminated sometime soon. But for people who want to have a V6 and don't want to have a turbocharged engine, it might be something to consider. But just look at the latest. I don't know what the latest quality scores are on it. I'm just telling you, when it first came out, they weren't good. But Nissan does have a pretty good track record as the vehicles age in the marketplace. They do improve their quality. We saw that with Pathfinder. Pathfinder, when it came out, not this latest version, the last one, hit abysmal quality scores, mostly centered around the continuously variable transmission. But as the years went by, and just before the Pathfinder was to be replaced with the all-new model, that last year, it was actually getting excellent quality scores. So the same could be true for Murano. Here's Chris. I've seen your reviews of the Civic SI and the GTI. I've test driven both. I'm pretty much split on which one to buy. I think you were planning on purchasing a GTI. What made you decide to buy the GTI? Well, the GTI comes with about 40 more horsepower than the SI. It's available. We're getting a manual, but it is available with the dual clutch, where the Civic Si only a manual. So if you're a manual buyer, the SI is an option. If you're an automatic performance sort of fun little car, then you're not going to get the SI at all. I owned a GTI years ago, and we like German cars. And I think also one of the things is with the GTI, it comes really nicely equipped for what I consider to be a pretty reasonable price for what you're getting. It's got the limited slip front differential. It's got all the standard safety features. It's, really nicely equipped car for the price, and you don't have to go to the top trim to get a nicely equipped car. The SI was good. I like driving it. It just didn't speak to me personally. It's just a personal thing, to be honest. And because I owned a GTI back when I met Andrea years ago, we're going to get another one. Here's Stephen Winter. I'm actually getting my family-owned Studebaker Lark, 1960, built in Hamilton, Ontario. It's undergoing maintenance after a period of rest and storage. Wow, those are cool-looking cars. Hey, Zach, what do you think of the QX60 versus the CX90? The QX60 is the three-row Infinity. It's funny, I was just mentioning Pathfinder. It's the Infinity version of Pathfinder. And to be honest with you, I would probably just go for Pathfinder. And then you can save some money and get pretty much the same vehicle. The Infinity really just comes down to some packaging changes. I mean, they're both using the same engine, the same 9-speed automatic transmission, and so on. The one thing about Pathfinder and the Infinity is They're really quite roomy, especially front seat passenger room. So compared to the CX-90, well, the good news is we're getting the CX-90 back for a week-long test drive. We've driven it in California for the launch event. We get it tomorrow, and we're getting it for a week. So if you're not in a rush, wait until we get it back for a full week-long test drive, and we'll turn that video around in the next couple of weeks, and you'll get more of our opinions on it, okay? But there is a video already out there for the QX60. Here's James. Looks like Toyota didn't prioritize fuel economy in the new Tacoma as the Tundra. Why would they opt for these insane torque over better fuel economy? Well, that's a criticism of the entire auto industry. So as we've made vehicles more efficient, they've also gotten bigger. And they've added more technology, and they've added more standard features. So the fuel economy gains have not been put towards fuel economy. They've basically gone towards keeping the fuel economy similar to the older models, but adding more stuff. So you could go back 20 years and find a stripped down version of a car that would probably get better fuel economy than the modern one, but it doesn't have nearly any of the equipment in it. Right? So cars today have all the latest standard safety features, blind spot, rear cross traffic alert, all of the advanced audio systems that you get in cars, all the creature comforts that we've come to insist on in new vehicles that just weren't a thing back in the day. So cars have gotten bigger, cars have gotten heavier, and the efficiency gains have been put towards keeping things fairly stable. In addition, people are buying up one sort of size of vehicle. 25 years ago, the best-selling class of vehicle in the Canadian market were compact cars. So the best-selling vehicles overall, we take away F-150, were the Civic and the Corolla, right? And now people, the best-selling vehicles are the RAV4 and the CR-V. So people have moved up a category in size, but even so, the RAV4 and the CR-V are getting fuel economy similar to what you got with the Civic and the Corolla 20 plus years ago. So that fuel economy is being put towards offsetting what you get in cars. Does that make sense? And also emissions. There's also other regulatory requirements, and they're about tailpipe emissions. So vehicles are regulated in many, many ways. One is fuel economy, and the other are tailpipe emissions, and they're not actually related. CO2 is carbon dioxide is a function of just how much fuel you burn. You burn a gallon of fuel or a liter of fuel, that turns into X number of molecules of carbon dioxide. However, how much pollutants come out of the tailpipe is another factor altogether. And car manufacturers, as time goes on, the regulations are going to be stricter and stricter around tailpipe emissions. Here's the interesting thing. The actual pollution that we have in our atmosphere at low levels that created, and this was all started in California in the 60s and 70s around smog, we have scrubbed out a huge percentage of the tailpipe particulate and pollutants. Now they're working on the CO2, which is purely a function of how much fuel you burn. But the good thing is, modern cars actually are much cleaner when it comes to the pollution that comes out the tailpipe. And that was one of the things that happened with Volkswagen with the TDI scandal, is that they were trying to circumvent the actual pollutants coming out of the tailpipe with this cheat software. They were actually capable of doing it. They just tried to not spend the money to do it. I mean, we have a diesel vehicle, and it had to be updated with the latest software and technology in order for it to be in compliance, and it was achievable. Here's Miguel with a super chat. Thank you very much. Hi, Zach. Have you heard anything on the Tucson PHEV deliveries this year? I went on a list last year, February, got an order list last month, and was told they are producing it in June and delivered 6 weeks after. Well, the good news is it's coming. I don't know on a specific brand where they are in the queue and where you are and how long it takes. I would say that the good news is you're in the pipe. The good news is it's coming, and looks like if you run the math, it's going to be here probably in August, maybe just before the Labor Day long weekend. But you know what I would say is just wait and enjoy the car when it comes. I know it's frustrating. We're in the same situation right now. We have an order in from the dealer at the factory waiting for a car to be built. I don't know when it's coming. I have no clue. But when it comes, it'll be great. Oh, hey, before I forget, I got a quick story. I forgot to mention this. We did a review of the Rivian pickup truck several weeks ago, and we kind of made fun of the price because I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Rivian pickup that we drove was $134,000 Canadian, and I just think that's ridiculous for really what is a mid-size pickup truck. At 134th, I don't care if it's electric or not. It's just too expensive for a pickup truck. So we had some kind of fun with the price of the vehicle. We played a little game. What 3 vehicles could you buy for the same price as a Rivian pickup truck? And the 3 that I chose were a Tacoma TRD Pro. That's not a crap truck. That's a fairly nicely equipped one. And then at the time the Bolt was for sale. They've since canceled it. But I said I can get an electric vehicle, I can get a Chevy Bolt. And then the third one was the MX-5 Miata, not the cheap one, the GT trim, nicely equipped. I could get all 3 for $134,000. Well, what happened? Well, the PR department at Rivian, they didn't like our review. And I've been doing this for 31 years. I've been test driving cars. I started in 1992. So every week since 1992, I've had a different car to drive. Like every car you can imagine, I've driven it. And I've never once, ever had a manufacturer critique a video or a review that I've done or I've done with Andrea. And Rivian critiqued our said we're out of line, we're out of step. And then they canceled our upcoming Rivian SUV. We were supposed to get it last week. They said, well, we've decided that we're not going to give you the Rivian SUV. And I looked at Andrea, and Andrea looked at me, and I was like, are you guys serious? Like, what kind of joke is this? What kind of joke company are you? And this is one of the things with these new startups, like whether it was Tesla not having a PR department. I mean, I don't get that. And then Rivian having a PR department, but only really wanting PR if it's good. Like I said, you know, it's not a good look for a PR department to be critiquing auto journalists. And I wrote back and I said, I'm not sure if you're aware, I've been doing this for 30 years. I hosted 3 national TV shows in Canada about cars, driver's seat, driving television, and motoring TV. And not once ever have I had a vehicle booking canceled. And not once ever have I had anybody critique my reviews, because I stand behind what I say. I think I'm fair. And I think critiquing Rivian at $134,000 for their pickup truck is a fair analysis. And you know what I always say to Andrea? If any car company ever complains about what we say in our reviews, the answer to the car company, and it's never happened except for Rivian, the answer is, these are your choices. You're the ones decided to price the vehicle $134,000, not us. We're just reacting to it. If you put in a crappy stereo in a car and we say it's a crappy stereo, that's your choice. That's not our choice. Or like, for example, we kind of went off on the Toyota Tundra hybrid with no legroom in the third row and no cargo space. I mean, that was Toyota's choice to build a vehicle with limited legroom and no cargo space. That's on them. It's not on me. My job is to review and point out the high and low points for the audience, not for the benefit of the manufacturer. So I blasted back in an email and said, thank you very much. Never had this in 31 years of reviewing cars. Not interested in Rivian. And by the way, best of luck, because there's going to be so many new electric vehicles coming from mainline brands that know how to, first of all, manufacture vehicles, produce vehicles, and have real PR departments. Now I feel better. I should find the email, Maybe I'll do that for the next live show. I'll find the email and read it out to you. It was something else. Anyway, what do you guys think of that? Rivian, good luck to you. $134,000 pickup truck. And here's the interesting thing is we just had the F-150 Lightning, I don't know, 5-6 weeks before. That was expensive, but you get a full-size F-150. You don't get a tiny little 5-foot bed. Like, you get a real pickup. Where was I now? Kind of get off the beaten path there. Hey, Zach, on the wait list for a Toyota Sienna for 9 months. Decided to put in an allocation for Kia Carnival, and 2 weeks later, I now have one coming in July. Carnival's great. I mean, looking at the prices of minivans, this is a self-fulfilling thing. The reason why minivan sales have gone down, I don't know, if do yourself a favor just for fun. Maybe after dinner tonight, go over to Honda and look up the price of the Odyssey. Go over to Toyota and look up the price of the Sienna. And then go over to Kia and look at the price of the Carnival. Way less expensive. And the prices of minivans, and then go to the Chrysler and look up the price of the Pacifica. It's ridiculous. There's a reason why minivan sales are in the crapper. It's they're charging way too much for them. I remember you used to get a Grand Caravan. You could get one of those for $20,000, $22,000. Now they're in the 40,000 plus range. So anyway, good for you. You got the best value of the bunch, and that's the Carnival, not the Grand Carnival. The Carnival. It's the Grand Caravan. G-Flow, any idea when the new 4Runner will be released? The Tacoma looks awesome, so very excited to see what they do with the 4Runner. Well, speculation is running around the internet, and that's all it is at this point. We are going to be in Texas in a couple of weeks with Lexus, and Lexus is going to be showing us some new vehicles. Not exactly sure what they are. A lot of speculation around that. I mean, Toyota and Lexus, they keep a lid on it. So we'll find out when they want us to find out. But yeah, you can do the math in your head and see they've turned their attention to their body-on-frame trucks. They did Tundra, then they did Sequoia. Now Tacoma's out. And you can see there's still a few more dominoes to fall. So hopefully soon. Hey, Zach, what's your general thoughts on the Lexus all-wheel drive IS 300? Well, if you're looking for a vehicle that you can buy and keep and run and just run and run and run and run, the Lexus IS is one of those cars that is so well made and so reliable and just won't put a foot wrong for many, many years. Now, the criticism is it's small in the back seat. If you don't use the back seat, then it's fine. If you use the back seat regularly, you need to take extra passengers, the back seat really is too small. And the IS has had an update in the last couple of years. However, it was a very weak facelift. So they did a slight facelift on the outside. The biggest improvement for the latest IS, the one that's out now, is the suspension was tweaked and the steering made it a better driving car. The facelift was mild, and then the interior was warmed over. Like, I mean, barely updated. And that's the real weak link to the IS, is the back seat is small and the dash is now really looking quite dated. But is it a nice driving car? Yes. Is it a car you can buy and drive for years? Absolutely. So you have to prioritize where you are on that spectrum. If you're wanting the newest and the latest, it's not going to have that. But if you're wanting a car that you can just buy and forget about, that's a good choice. What do you think of the Q4 e-tron? What's the difference between the 2023 and the 2024 model? I don't think there's going to be any difference because the vehicle just arrived this year. So I don't think there's going to be any change for next year. We really like the E4 Q4 e-tron. I think it's one of the better bangs per buck in the electric vehicle space. And that's hard to do these days because they've become so expensive. But It's a nice size. It doesn't have weird stuff. It's got a regular interior. It's got regular door handles. I'm trying to remember if it has a rear wiper. Pretty sure it does. So we really liked it. Interior's a bit what we call plastic fantastic. I'm not sure if you had a look inside one yet. The dashboard has some fairly inexpensive parts and pieces on it. I mean, it looks good. It could be better quality, but I don't think there's going to be any changes because it just arrived this year in market, in the North American market. It was sold a year or so before in Europe. So no, I don't think there's going to be any changes. All right, let me see if I missed anything here. Here's Outsider Reviews again. We had an entry-level Rivian on order and was canceled since they completely canceled that trim and weren't willing to pay over $130,000. Yeah. So some people wrote on our Rivian review, said, well, I only paid, and these are US dollars, $69,000. Well, if you're one of those very first order placeholders, they wanted to put the price way up, and then they got so many complaints from placeholders that they actually relented and decided to sell the vehicles at the original price that they agreed to. But then once those people were off the books, they jacked the price way up. I don't have a lot of hopes for Rivian as a company when the prices are so high. They could be an acquisition target. They're not selling that many vehicles. I think they only made 25,000 units last year. They do have plans to increase their production, but I just don't see them getting to being a mainline brand with those kinds of prices. Okay. All right, I'm all out of time. I got to get on the barbecue here. It's 5 o'clock on the West Coast, so in the next half hour or so, I got to fire up the queue. It's beautiful weather on the West Coast. It feels like summer already. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the rest of your Sunday night. I know it's a long weekend in the United States, so enjoy your long weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Oh, wait. Next weekend's a no-go. We have a family barbecue. We're kind of getting to the point where we take a little hiatus for summer. I think we'll try and get a couple of more of these live shows in the next few weeks. Next weekend, it's a family barbecue, so that's not going to work. But I'll let you guys know before I pull the pin for the summer hiatus. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. And if it's in the U.S., the rest of your long weekend. And we'll chat with you soon. Take it easy.